It's absolutely not boring. It's incredibly interesting. And they're absolutely right, it's totally different than TV. We don't go chase the bad guys like they do on TV. You know, I don't carry a gun. I don't show up with high heels and cleavage. You know, it's not like that. We do show up at the scene, but we're usually wearing sensible shoes. The part to me that's exciting is the figuring out what happened. Not so much in the homicides, because lots of times someone was stabbed or shot. Or, you know, homicides, there's kind of a limited range of what someone can do to somebody else to kill them. But the thing that I find interesting are natural deaths, where any organ in the body can cause problems. And so, to me, it's an incredibly exciting job. There are certain types of deaths that by law, by state statute, have to be reported to the medical examiner. And some of those include anyone who dies outside of a healthcare facility, so anybody who collapses at home or in the public, anyone who has not seen a doctor within 4 months, any unnatural death, so accident, suicide, homicide, undetermined death, any death at work, any death in an emergency department. So there's this huge number of deaths that by law have to be reported to us. Then it's up to us as the medical examiner to determine what the extent of our investigation will be. I've never had dreams, and the things that keep me awake at night mostly are work-related in the sort of business sense. You know, personnel stuff or budget or getting paperwork done, but not the personal stuff. We have to really develop an ability to separate ourselves from the person who's died and their family. Not so much that we can't be compassionate, but enough that we can function. A number of years ago, Catherine Olson was murdered. And it was called the Craigslist killer because she was answering a babysitting ad on Craigslist. And she could have been my daughter. I have a daughter named Catherine. Her name was Catherine. She went to St. Olaf. My kids have friends who went to St. Olaf. She was just trying to get a job. She was just trying to help this person that she thought was a young mom who needed a babysitter. And she didn't do anything wrong. She wasn't drinking. She wasn't not wearing her seatbelt. She wasn't doing drugs. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And this terrible, terrible thing happened to her. And that, to this day, is the worst case I've ever had to deal with. I actually went to her funeral, which I've never done before or since, but it was just this, you know, I just felt this bond with her. We've certainly had people faint in the autopsy room, and, you know, it's not for everyone. I think partly it's the idea of it more so than the reality. I mean, yes, there are smells and not, you know, they aren't all good smells. In fact, none of them really are good smells. But most of the time you can kind of adjust to that. When we have, for example, a law enforcement officer, this is where it comes up most often, that is feeling a little queasy, once we kind of get them focused on, okay, look, here's what we're doing, then usually they're okay. It was forensic pathologists who said, you know, we aren't seeing people who are wearing their seatbelts that die in car crashes. What we see are people who are not wearing their seatbelts. And so it's that kind of public health data that then can be used in public health campaigns to put together, yes, cigarette smoking causes cancer and heart disease. Yes, not wearing your seatbelt increases your risk of dying in a car crash. Yes, a baby sleeping face down increases their risk of dying. I mean, all of that is really, really important, and that's what we do, is provide that kind of information.